Hello everyone, welcome to Infinite Journeys. Subscribe and click the bell button now. Everything is connected for a reason. So relax and enjoy the experiences.
In a quiet corner of an ancient forest stood a plantation filled with lush greenery and towering trees. Among these giants, one tree stood out, not because of its size, but because it was so much smaller. It was an apple tree with a slender trunk and gently curved branches. Surrounded by massive trees that reached high into the sky, the apple tree looked tiny and almost forgotten. The larger trees blocked out the sunlight, leaving the apple tree in constant shadow. From far away, the plantation looked like a magnificent, untouched part of nature. The giant trees, with their wide canopies and rough bark, stood like old guardians, whispering secrets through their rustling leaves. But up close, there was a different story. The little apple tree, though covered in green leaves and red apples, seemed sad. It looked lonely under the shadow of the larger trees, almost as if it believed it didn't matter. The apple tree lived in isolation. While the tall trees basked in the sunlight and thrived, the apple tree lived in darkness. Its leaves trembled gently, as though it mourned something it could never quite understand. It had grown used to feeling small and unimportant. One morning, the forest was unusually quiet. A heavy stillness hung in the air, as if something big was about to happen. Then came the sound of heavy machines in the distance. Soon the peaceful forest was filled with the roar of engines and the loud clang of metal. Construction workers had arrived. The tall trees sensed danger. Their leaves shook, and their branches quivered as if they could somehow protect themselves. But the apple tree, named Ariadne, stayed still. It had already accepted its place in the shadows. To Ariadne, the arrival of the machines felt like the end it had always expected. It didn't feel fear, just sadness. It lowered its branches, closed its eyes, and waited for the end. The workers moved quickly and without emotion. Their tools bit into the trunks of the giant trees. One by one, the towering trees crashed to the ground. Each fall echoed like a drumbeat of sorrow. The forest's vibrant sounds faded with every tree that fell. The workers moved quickly and without emotion. Their tools bit into the trunks of the giant trees. One by one, the towering trees crashed to the ground. Each fall echoed like a drumbeat of sorrow. The forest's vibrant sounds faded with every tree that fell. When the workers reached the apple tree, Ariadne braced itself. But then, nothing happened. The workers walked right past it. They moved on to the next large tree, leaving Ariadne untouched. Still, the apple tree didn't open its eyes. It couldn't believe it had been spared. The sound of destruction grew distant, and finally, there was silence. Ariadne finally looked around. It saw a scene of heartbreak. What a shock. Where once there had been a thick forest, there were now only tree stumps and scattered branches. The mighty giants were gone. Ariadne stood alone in a wide, empty space, unsure of what this new world would bring. Days passed, then weeks. The apple tree stood quietly, trying to understand what had happened. For the first time, sunlight reached its leaves. It began to notice little changes. Tiny green shoots were sprouting from the soil. Slowly, the land began to breathe again. Little by little, young apple trees began to grow around Ariadne. Their fresh green leaves opened to the sunlight, full of life and promise. The plantation, once a place of sorrow and shadow, began to fill with light and new growth. Beside Ariadne, something beautiful happened. A pond started to form. Clear and calm, it was soon dotted with lotus flowers. The flowers floated peacefully on the water, their presence filling the area with calm and quiet beauty. Ariadne's story was shared with visitors as a reminder of resilience. Even the smallest tree, hidden in shadows, had survived great change and helped bring new life. It had gone from sorrow to joy, and its journey had transformed not only itself, but the entire landscape. People found comfort in the story. They saw that no matter how small or forgotten someone might feel, there is always the chance for growth and renewal. Ariadne had stayed strong when the world around it crumbled, and because of that, something even more beautiful was able to grow. The nature park became a place of connection between people and nature, and between the past and the future. Ariadne had become the heart of the nature park. The apple tree's quiet strength had changed everything. The young trees, the peaceful pond, and the blooming lotus flowers were all part of Ariadne's legacy, a living symbol of hope, renewal, and shows the power of time manipulation.
Thank you for sharing your story, Ariadne.
While Key and Martha are on their way to the next adventure, stay tuned for more stories shared by friends from other planets. Signing off, Earthy.
Thank you, Earthy, for the finishing. Thank you so much to my dear viewers and for your great support. To understand the link, watch our stories from the beginning, do subscribe and click the bell button for more coming up stories. Signing off, Key with Martha.